Hey guys, it's Malls. Thanks so much for listening to Please Advise. Just a quick message before the show. Don't forget to subscribe in iTunes. It's super helpful for us and super helpful for you. You can also call 323-450-7408 to get your calls on the show. Again, 323-450-7408. Or email askpleaseadvise@gmail.com with your voice notes or emails. Thanks so much. Hey guys, welcome to episode 162 of Please Advise. We're just coming along real nice on these episode numbers, Christina. Just, they build every week. It's amazing how numbers
crazy.
Work. I know. But also I feel like we should have more.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, well, you always say that because, I count, the New York episodes not, New York series specific and not part of the overall, when the Golden Girls had
it's not canon.
Show.
It's not canon.
It's not canon. It's like when the Golden Girls had a clip show that one season.
Yeah.
It's
God, remember clip shows? It'd be so disappointing. I remember it being Blossom being in her room. She's like, I'm thinking back on old times. Remember the time Six and I went to the mall? And it would just be this 3-minute clip. What a lazy ass way of doing things.
And it counted as a new episode,
anymore.
but it's just what they don't. Why do you think they invented them in the first place? Was it just to
it was
out
just
the
because
27 order? Because they used to be 27 episodes
or
orders.
budget savers. It'd be okay, we only have to film in one location. It's just Blossom walking around her room in one wardrobe outfit. It would be a whole thing. Okay, you guys. So today's guest is Mandy Stadtmiller. She has a brand new book out called Unwifeable, which I was telling her I always wanted to write a series called Unwifeable, but every time I would sit down and start to do it, it would turn out to be wildly sexist. So I want to know why you named your book that, how that came about, and what the book is about. It just came to my door today, so I'm really excited to read it, but I haven't read it yet.
I came up with the idea because I heard Snoop Dogg talking about Chris Humphries back in the day when Kim Kardashian was married to him.
Oh, yeah. I just actually rewatched The Wedding.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that fucking diamond headband, man.
He was giving advice to Chris, and he was saying, this is what happened. You can't
turn a
you
hoe
can't
into
you can't wife some bitches. You can't wife a hoe. I don't want to misquote him. I have the exact quote. If you need it,
okay,
you can fix it in post.
Guys, just fucking Google it.
Yeah, and
you get the gist.
It really stayed in my mind, and when I heard people using that term, I realized that I felt very much. I really resonated with that because I always throughout my life I've had people being afraid of being associated with me. That I would
totally.
I would go on
absolutely no.
I would go on a Tinder date and maybe say something weird, and then maybe they would Google me, and it would be some hedge funder dude, and you could just tell the look in his eyes was that he was afraid his entire stock portfolio was going to crash just by virtue of being with this zany chick who talked about sex and dating and embarrassing things.
I think it's so rude to Google someone, by the way.
Well, when you're with them, yeah, sure.
Or just in general.
Really?
I'm just I'll Google a historical figure, but if it's someone I'm about to meet in real life, I talk about this a lot. Christina couldn't feel more opposite. Christina's everyone's on the sex offender registry in Christina's mind. Personally, I'm hey, if you're a sex offender, that's something you can tell me in person, okay? It's not my job to figure out you're a sex offender. I don't know. I think things are going to come
Has anyone ever told you that?
No.
Okay.
No, but I mean, I swipe for eyes. I swipe for if I see life in your eyes. A lot of people I'm
oh God, I love that. That's exactly what I like too.
Yeah, you don't need to be a categorical hottie.
Yes.
I just need to see that you've got there's something in there.
That's exactly what I fall for.
There's a lot of really hot guys that I'm oh, but honey, you're dead. You're dead inside, or you're cynical. I can I can read cynicism on the page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and by that I mean the profile picture. But I first of all, that has left a really bad taste in my mouth regarding Snoop Dogg, because I feel that's almost like being a Trump supporter, trying to soothe Chris Humphries. If I ever saw Chris Humphries, I'd be sorry, you got what you had coming to you. You're an asshole. For some reason,
my husband is a Trump supporter, so you may have to kick me out now.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, how can you be married to a Trump supporter? Does it bother you in your house?
No, I've kind of talked it through with him, and I feel like I now have a lot more empathy for people who
still a Trump supporter.
Very much so, yeah. He has a podcast called Trump,
Wow.
Yeah. He's a comic, and he just got more into politics.
Is it ironic?
It is not ironic whatsoever. Although he does like some of the stand-up comic,
right?
Moves of Trump. Yeah. But I totally
rather not be married. I hate to say that. I just don't know if I could get along with the Trump supporter. I think we'd be in a permanent fight.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how we got Trump, is that attitude, which I totally respect.
Totally.
But I think that divisiveness is not a good thing. And
yeah, sure.
I mean, I'll tell you, my first husband, who cheated on me all the time.
Yeah.
Insulted me all the time, and I mean, whatever. I was a nightmare to him. I was just the ultimate, just needy whack job. He would drag me to international socialist conventions, and he was more left than Chomsky.
Oh, I
and
don't
that
love a
guy
socialist.
was okay, but I'm just saying that. And I've dated other, proclaimed male feminists, and to me, the only thing that matters is how someone treats you, and if they're true to their word. And so I'm married to a guy named Pat Dixon, and he's from the South, and he is someone who's true to his word, and he's always treated me really wonderfully and boosted up my self-esteem and my self-worth. And at the end of the day,
is he like socially liberal at all? Like, is
yeah.
Okay.
He definitely would be like, get that abortion, girl. You're 42. Come on.
Yeah.
So no, he would, I would say he's socially liberal, but he definitely is a Trump supporter. And you are not the first person who has.
I'm sure I'm not.
Yeah.
Especially in our industry.
I've had total strangers just send me long notes exactly why I should get divorced, and I think I'm kind of a contrarian.
That's so weird that people
that seems like a little that seems a little intense. That's weird. I can see like bumping on that, like as a woman being like
trying to convince a complete stranger
to get a divorce.
Like, you don't know what that
especially when there's especially when there's a dick pic attached. No, that hasn't happened, but like that would be great, right?
I've never gotten a dick pic.
I don't know. Are you?
I could show you some because I was trying to find.
Are you into getting them?
No.
Oh, yeah.
She's a married woman.
No,
that doesn't mean anything. You're right.
I don't know what the type of marriage
you could love a poly dick pic.
Yeah, no, we don't have. We're not polyamorous. Like, we've had the occasional 3-way, but we don't. But we don't. We don't swing. We don't flirt with other people, and. Yeah, we're kind of weird.
This is just so far we've been full of curveballs. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
I don't think that's.
And I'm really a man. Did you guys know that? I'm just gonna cry and game it up.
I love
your journey. I respect that journey.
Yeah, you know what? We're here for journeys. So moving on from Trump, because this I just don't have anything more to say about that.
Of course. No, I completely respect that.
I wanted to talk to both of you about 9/11 because I watched my favorite subject, 9/11. By the way, when I'm in New York, I compulsively keep bringing up 9/11. I know why. I just can't help it.
It puts everyone at ease.
It's also
like talking about abortion or politics.
Were you?
It's just.
Were you living in New York when that happened?
No, I was living in Chicago, and I was working at Northwestern, the university I went to, but then I later worked there. And I was taking classes because I was going to become an English teacher. So I went to a neuroscience course that night, and a woman said that she had just heard from her brother who left the building to take a smoke break, and that saved his life.
Yeah.
So that's my immediate story that I think of when I think of 9/11. But I'm completely obsessed with it too. I've watched every conspiracy theory video that's out there. Like, I'm fascinated by that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the loose change and all that.
Watch Loose Change as soon as I read about it in Vanity Fair, which is crazy that Vanity Fair wrote about it.
Yeah.
Vanity Fair goes deep. I really do. Vanity Fair, the more I think about it, they just have some of the best pieces out there of any publication. They really do. I watched last night though, or 2 nights ago. I've been like trying to watch this documentary for probably 10 years now, and it's the one about, but I keep starting it, but like I am a believer that like our entire generation has like at least low level PTSD from 9/11.
Definitely.
Because it's just like, I was a senior in high school. I'm from Boston, so like it felt very real. I mean, it, you know, like I think that for some people there was a level of like, it was just surreal. Like the East Coast, like, or the West Coast woke up and 9/11 already happened. Like,
yeah,
it was at like 8 a.m. You know what I mean? So it was really fucking early. And I remember just being in school. I was in Italian class, and then it changed periods, and my boyfriend picked me up and was like, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And I remember this one girl, it's like, it's going to sound like I'm conflating people who get abortions with 9/11, but there was one girl in school that like got an abortion, and she was in my drama class, and she was not smart. Like she was not a bright girl. And I remember like we were walking through the hallways, and like people were coming out of classrooms being like, a plane just hit the World Trade Center, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And the girl who had gotten an abortion was like, wait, was anyone hurt?
Wow.
I don't know what she imagined. Like, I don't know what.
You're like, yeah, your baby.
I guess like.
Your baby was in the building, bitch.
It just was like, I don't know. She just thought it like lodged in seamlessly and just like sat there. Like it was like a car that hit a building where it just like goes through, and like people were able to scurry out of the way. I don't know what she thought happened, that it's like literally like a bomb hitting a building. Like there's just no coming back from it.
What a twist though that would have been if the building was stronger than ever because of the plane. You know, like that there was a weak spot in it, and it just kind of boosted it up. It was about to fall.
Like a door, like it was just like something like a little like door, like whatever they call it. What's a door stopper? Like it just like wedged in. Like I'm just like, what did you think happened? Like she just literally, was anyone hurt? Yes, bitch. Everyone was hurt. You wouldn't believe the destruction it's caused. So I was in like another class by the time the second plane hit. So that's 9/11 is it's triggering. So I had tried to start this documentary many times, but the Emotionally Broken Psychos Facebook group, which is absolutely lit for those of you who don't know, mollyandthepsychos.com, you can join, but if you and I have mutual friends, you're not allowed in because I know why you're there. They're all creepers. But
wait, what is this? It's a book group?
It's for my other podcast, Emotionally Broken Psychos, which is about reality TV and like psychology and the intersection of it, because I actually don't think reality TV is like funny. Like most of my friends who have reality TV podcasts are like roasting the people. And I actually just don't think like a lot of it's very funny. I actually think it's really tragic, and there brings up a lot of interesting emotional themes, and you're watching these people process information, and it's just, anyway, so we have a Facebook group dedicated to that podcast that's just lit the fuck up. And we talk about how, like, we talk about crazy people for the most part.
You should have Sonia Morgan be a guest.
I mean, that's beyond a dream. Like,
I know her, and she's very kind.
I would love that. She's literally she made a video for the group, actually. Do you know Cameo? Are you familiar with the service?
No, I've never even heard of it.
A celebrity, like, anywhere from like, I think some people do it for like $30, some people do it for $100. I got Christina one from one of the RuPaul's from Shangela.
Yeah, from Drag Race.
Which, by the way, I told you, did I tell you that I forgot that Shangela was on Two Broke Girls?
Yeah, you did.
I was like, what the fuck? I guess I never put together that like that guy is also Shangela. Like, and I also,
Drag Race is the only reality show I watch.
And
I've never watched it.
It's so good.
People love their fucking Drag Race. I'm telling you. Like, I'm so jealous of their community. It's like, anyway, I love Sonia Morgan. Yeah. I would do fucking anything to talk to her. So yes, but
I just love the artistry of drag and like the concept of like gender expression and how like some of those queens are women like more feminine than I am.
Yeah.
And it's just really fascinating to me.
RuPaul really stepped in the shit this week though when he said doing that a lot lately. He said it's cultural appropriation for women to do drag, and it's like, no, drag is about women. Like drag is women. Like everything that you're copying is from women. So anyway, back to my favorite subject, 9/11. I watched that documentary, The Woman Who Wasn't There or something it's called, and it's about this chick that basically was like the head of the Survivors Network. She Wags is loving you. She's the head of the Survivors Network. She was like a major player in like basically just like helping people who were survivors because she herself was a survivor. Plot twist, 6 years later, they found out she wasn't there. She literally made up the entire story. She was not at 9/11. She did not lose her fiance. She was never married. It was like this whole story that she completely fabricated. And she was a con artist, basically.
Did she take money?
She didn't take money. I think Tiffany gave her a ring because she lost her ring in the thing. Like that, people were saying like she should be arrested, and I'm like, I don't actually think it's illegal to lie. Like I don't think that in and of itself is a lie. Whether or not she took money, that is, I think, up for debate. I think the ring was definitely like people were like, you can get her on that, but she fucking straight up ghosted. She was seen once on the street in 2011, and then after that, she wasn't seen again for a really long time.
I think that there has to be a term for that because you know how there's Munchausen's for
it's called
faking?
tragedy. It's called tragedy jumpers or like something like that, where it's like people that, you know, people I think look for an identity. And,
oh God, yeah.
You know, and someone was saying that people like kind of like, I think for a lot of people, 9/11 became like a religion for them. Like it was something that they were in that and like involved in that a lot of people are not. And I found this podcast about this woman. Her name's Tanya Head, which by the way, like dark name to make up for yourself. Because that's not her real name. Her real name's like Alicia something. She's from Brazil. But I found this podcast called Liar City because I like, you know, once you hear one version of a story, you want to hear like 50 more. So
sure, yeah.
It was about her, and they were talking about how they had wanted to talk about like Liar City's all about liars. So they wanted to talk about her story for a long time, but they didn't start telling until the guy from the league, Steve, what's his name? Steve
Ranzizi.
Yeah, Steve Ranzizi, like came out. I guess he had been telling his story for years that he was involved in 9/11, which
yes, I am familiar with that. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was like fucking dark.
I think he said he worked at like Merrill Lynch or like he was like a banker at one
and that's
of those.
what Tanya Head said she worked at too. She also was running with this I worked at Merrill Lynch thing, to which I say like this is a little bit on Merrill Lynch at this point, because when there's two people like walking around being like, I survived, and like we're talking the head of the Survivors Network and also a famous comedian, like can Merrill Lynch be like, oh, BTW, we didn't even have an office there, or
step up, Merrill Lynch.
We've never had these employees. I'm like, how can you have someone that's like a famous survivor out there in the news talking about their relationship to you, and no one at Merrill Lynch is like, oh, but we didn't have an office there, or oh, that employee never works there. I guess like I don't know, man. Like it's dark. But the thing that I was dying about was that this guy Steve was saying in his interview that when he just started lying like pathologically about it when he moved out to LA. And he was saying that his girlfriend at the time was like horrified, his now wife. And he's like, she couldn't do anything about it. She had to go along with the lie. And I was like, no, she didn't. Like that would be a huge fucking deal breaker for me if I found out that a guy I was dating was walking around lying about something as big as I survived 9/11. Like,
do they have kids?
They had kids, but not when
he started lying. Okay.
Yeah. And so for me, I was like, also like, what about that plight? Like learning. I don't like it when like a guy lies about getting fucking frozen yogurt. Like I don't, let alone like I was in 9/11. I would completely dump his ass. I don't understand why this like alleged, you know, by the time that he was found out, he had kids. So like, I guess I understand that, but like, how could you be with, what would you do if you found out that someone you were dating was like living that kind of lie?
I would question everything. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's happened to me before in different ways, and I'm now a really obnoxiously
large scale lie.
Yeah, so I wrote about this in the book Unwifeable, and you can buy it at unwifeablebook.com. I wrote about this man who I went on a date with for the dating column I was writing for the New York Post, and he picked me up at the Apple store and he said, come here, look at these videos that I do. And he was this French journalist who had come over, and it was videos that were him interviewing Angelina Jolie and Bill Clinton and all these things. And we went on a date, and he was really aggressive, and he kept whipping his dick out, and the whole thing was kind of awful. And I eventually just said, just like jerk off on my back. Like, I don't want you to touch me anymore. Yeah. And 3 years later,
there was like some bargaining there. Just like, if he can get it off, then I can get out of the situation.
Yeah. And
girl, I'm sorry that happened.
Oh, it's okay. And then he just sent me all these nasty texts after about just what an American brat I was. And, so 3 years later, my very good friend and an editor at the Post, Mackenzie Dawson, who has this thing for remembering names, she saw the name come up on the wire, Hugo Denver Acasé, and he had been arrested for rape.
No.
And I wrote a story, and I was in the cover of the Post, and it said, my date with the Riverside rapist. And I had at least 25 women contacting me, and a lot of the language that I had used in his emails to me, about, oh, you seem like someone who really enjoys life and gets the most out of every moment. They'd use the exact same he had used the exact same language with them. He had taken footage from Charlie Rose and didn't actually have, a show or The Office that was in his he just had this whole catfishing site. And I think at I don't know if he was homeless the whole time.
No.
Yeah. And he was like sleeping out on people's, he was stalking some of these women, and he would like sleep out on their, fire escapes and things. Yeah. And after that, I started making people bring me their photo IDs when I went on dates, and just didn't really believe anything.
That I'm behind. Googling, no, but I'm like, show me the photo ID. That I'm here for. Yeah. My God, that is so wild. I'm so sorry that happened.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, it was a really crazy experience, because I did not realize that kind of catfishing
existed.
Yeah, just that someone would do that on that scale. Like, why not how much does it cost to host a website? Why not use that to like rent an Airbnb? Like, just when you think about the amount of work that went into that
too. Like, that's the other, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, like, I'm not good at lying, like, to the extent that I just don't. Like, when I was a kid,
I can't even lie about, like, taking the last cookie or something like that.
Oh, no. Like, I've been in situations with people, like, especially, like, any sort of, like, drug-fueled situation, like, in the past, where it's like, yo, you did the last of the Coke, and the person's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, do you think I'm a fucking idiot? Like, people lie so boldly, and it blows my mind.
You don't indulge that, because I indulge anything when someone is, off their head on drugs.
No, I mean, like,
because I'm afraid they'll dissect me and cut me into a million little pieces.
I do know to back away. Like, I know when to back away. I'll be like, okay, no, you didn't. But like, there's no drugs left. But no, you didn't. Okay, like, I'll definitely be like, no. If you say that's the truth, that's the truth. Which always enrages a liar even more, because they know that you're placating them. It's a dark journey. But I can't lie. I was telling Christina earlier, when I was a kid, I remember like feeling any lie that I would tell as a kid was usually based in like embarrassment. So like, I remember lying about having a boyfriend who lived at Hanscom Air Force Base named Chris with a K, which like everyone was like, no, you don't have a boyfriend. And I was like, no, I do. Like, which by the way, no, I didn't.
That's great, like, though. I love the specificity
like, you
of
lie
it.
about like how much sex stuff you've done. Like,
no, that I was like, I'm so Catholic. Yeah. Or I lied about, I remember being embarrassed that like I hadn't done anything fabulous with with my summer. Like I just spent which by the way, looking back, it's like I just spent the summer at the beach house with my Nana. Like that's still a nice summer. Like I don't know why I was so embarrassed, but I went to a school with a bunch of rich kids, and I was like I was one of the only people. I was probably the only person at that school with a single mom.
You're like that character in like a John Hughes movie.
Yes, that's what Jolie said. Like she's like, you're literally a John Hughes character, and that I had a single mom who was like a house cleaner, but I lived in like the wealthiest town in Massachusetts. So it was like she just like we lived in the smallest possible whole apartment. So
you're pretty in pink.
Exactly. It's dark. So she I remember like lying about I basically took the plot of the Hawaii episodes of Full House.
Oh, nice.
And I like had this whole story about how I went to Hawaii with the summer with like my uncles. I basically just recited the plot of the Hawaii episodes of Full House. I remember like the teacher said something to my mom because I was on like a scholarship, and she was like, what the fuck is up with this Hawaiian vacation? Yet your daughter's on like scholarship.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And my mom
you didn't even think about that.
No, like I didn't understand like the logistics of money. So I was just remember being like, I got in so much trouble. And I just remember being like, now I look back, it's actually like kind of a really sad tale that like I was like ashamed of my like socioeconomic status is like and didn't realize I was on scholarship. And I'm just like in first grade, like trying to get by.
It was interesting that you chose like Saved by the Bell, like Hawaiian, or no, Full House Hawaiian, and not like the Saved by the Bell, like Corelli, like working in the summer at a beach.
Carosi.
Yeah, Carosi.
Well, I mean, I didn't work at the beach, and also that's actually closer to the summer I did have. And I think I like was also I still like romanticize Hawaii. Like I've never been. I'm going to fucking Japan, but I still think Hawaii is too fancy for me.
It's I don't get that. But like, what was the biggest?
I mean, now I know Hawaii is kind of a dump, but
you know, the last time someone asked me that, they then told me that they had lied about being raped. That was it was
that's a scene.
Yeah, that was
a woman, or
it was a woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that makes any difference, but
yeah, I'm trying to think what the biggest.
A little darker if it was a guy.
I'm trying to think what the biggest lie I've told was. I'm not very good at lying because I was punished for it like so much as a kid. Like one time when I, took a candy from Felipe's pizza my parents made me, and I was like 5 or something, and they made me go back and return it. And I have a long note that I wrote to breaking up with a good friend of mine when I was a kid saying, I can't be friends with you anymore because you're a liar. And I know you're going to make fun of me and call me a priss, but if being a priss means that you tell the truth, I don't care. And it was because we had called Home Shopping Network from her house and we're trying to get on air. Yeah. And I guess the Home Shopping Network people called her parents, and then my parents got called, and I was grounded for quite a while. So
that's amazing. I mean, I love a good troll. So that first of all, like Home Shopping Network, like don't you have better things to do? Like that's so dark.
That was pretty.
The Home Shopping Network person that was like so mad that like these kids crank called you. And she was like, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this and talk to their parents.
Also, I would assume that's probably 70% of their calls is people just like dry calling to fuck with them. Like perverts masturbating on the line. Like
I had the shit scared out of me. So I was like, dear friend, you may not know, but like the federal authorities may have to be involved and I need to put a stop to this now. And it was just, I was always really, really afraid of worst case scenario. Like I went to DARE training, which I don't know if they had anymore.
Girl, absolutely. First of all, DARE has to be self-funded now. I gave $1 to it the other day outside of CVS because the state doesn't pay for DARE anymore.
Okay, so I went through that, and then I recognized that my mom had marijuana she kept in the fridge, and I was sobbing and threatening to turn her into the police. And, I was just like such a freaking snitch, you know? I mean, I was just so terrified. And she even like threw it away across the street so that, you know, if there was some big manhunt, you know, they wouldn't be able to pin it on her. So yeah, I was always really I was like a goody for a long time, and then I just kind of snapped, I guess.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. I was such a good kid my whole life. Like
I have not had that
I came home
yet.
drunk once, and I remember like my mom just like knew not to even punish me because she was like, this kid is putting herself through it. Like she has never regretted anything more. Like my mom just knew. And I just remember my punishment was like she blasted the music, drove me all the way down to the beach house, blasting music in the car. And then like I had to like be at my aunt's house for the day. And like that was my punishment.
I do remember one time making out with Kevin.
That was my first makeout too. A guy named Kevin.
He was
not your Kevin.
He was one of those weirdo 20-somethings who's still trolling high school
like
pussy,
what is that?
You know,
the guy that buys you.
Right, like Matthew McConaughey.
He was exactly like that. Yeah, he and his friend, and so me and my friend Geneva, you know, were making out with them, and I don't know, I might have touched his dick or sucked his, I don't know. It was just like, but I got home at 4 a.m. and I told my father, who we could hear pacing inside, who's also, I read about this in the book, but he is a blind Vietnam vet who was shot twice in the face and has is smart and got a, very charming, very charismatic alpha war energy, but he has a frontal head injury, which makes him, prone to kind of rage and all these things. And so when we came in, we told him that we had lost the keys in the sand. And so that was a lie that I told my father. And then in our yearbook inscriptions, that was one of the inside jokes that I included. Lost the keys in the sand. It's just like a callback to our epic night. And I think I did that also one time I went to a rave. I stayed out all night and didn't, said that I was at my friend Geneva's. But I've never really been much of a liar with people that I'm dating. Like I ended this 2-year relationship by I met these 2 hot Italian pilots that I met on the street, and I took them home for this devil's 3-way fuck fest, and then called my boyfriend at the time right after and was like, hey, I just fucked 2 Italian pilots. And he was like, why are you telling me this? And then I took a cab over to his place, and yeah, I thought he was going to propose after that, but I don't know. Some things there's one of those, worms in my brain or something that just, things don't always
line up.
Yeah. And
yeah, that doesn't check out.
It did not. No, it did not. The math did not check out. Yeah. And so we broke up soon after that.
I love an Italian pilot 3-way for you though.
Thank you.
Fun.
That's a great way to say that. I love an Italian pilot 3-way for you.
I do.
I'm sorry, I'm not I hope you don't take that as
no. Everyone talks back to me in my own voice, which I actually take as a huge compliment.
Okay, good.
Did you think that the 3-way made you realize how much you appreciated your boyfriend, and that's why you called him, or you thought thought you were cool and adventurous? Or,
I just thought it was this is what's gonna happen if you don't propose.
This is,
and do
do
you really want to lose this? The girl who takes home 2 guys who doesn't know what their names are
for an MMS 3-way.
yeah, and so that happened.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, you guys, so we're all pathological liars, and let's start taking your calls.
Hey, I have a question. I am pretty self-aware, and I know that right now I'm emotionally unavailable. So does that mean that I should not date at all? Is it unethical to date if I know that I am just not available to be serious? That's That's my question. Thanks.
I mean, it's never stopped a guy from dating when emotionally unavailable. I think every guy I dated in my 20s, which like the biggest scam of all time is like looking back on my 20s being like, oh, it was because I was in my 20s that like I just dated fuckboys. Like, and it's like that's what I was attracting because like the guy's like, oh, look at this sitting duck over here. Like I can totally date her for like 2-3 years and like it's not going to go anywhere and it doesn't matter. Like that's oh God. Anyway.
I have a TV show you guys should do, which is that the superpower that the woman has is that she can see, you know, it would read inside like little, you know, neon letters. It would say like warning, fuckboy on the person. Wouldn't that be good?
Oh yeah. I was like, what's the name of this TV show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you guys are going to something off of fuckboy.
Oh no, they are making a what men want.
Serious. Oh yeah, good.
Like what women want, like the Mel Gibson movie. They're doing it what men want, and it's like with Taraji P. Henson.
I think that'll be
How
great.
How is it not going to be mostly like I would love to like?
I think it'll just be a massive read, like on dudes. Like I think it'll be like just a 2-hour read on like straight white men, probably. But
so yeah, I think that definitely you don't stop dating because of that. Because I mean, unless it's like I am acting out and hurting people and, you know, doing XYZ awful things, just being emotionally unavailable, for all likelihood, the other person might be too, you know, and it's not like the only people who are on Tinder or OkCupid are people who have passed some kind of psychological checklist, which by the way, that's a good dating site.
Yeah.
Is like where you have to have passed a certain kind of psych checklist to even be on there. Wouldn't that be amazing?
This is my new thing.
You want a commitment. Like
I think Tinder would be brilliant to add like a benching option. And I tweeted about this. Like if you get one a year. And if you see like an ex on there that you know factually has not done work on himself, is like fucking mentally ill, is a torturer, is a punisher, whatever, you can bench that person for 6 months. So like they can't be on the app. They have to go think about what they've done. They have to go do some self work. Like maybe turn in a form. You can maybe get back on before 6 months if you can turn in a form saying, I've gone to therapy and worked on myself. I'd like to reapply for Tinder. But I really do think that there should be a benching option because I've swiped through many times and I'm sure I'd get benched myself. But like I've swiped through many times and seen people on there that I'm like, oh honey, like you are an option on here. Like poor girls. Like I feel terrible for whoever's out there. I do think to our caller though, if you are a self-aware person, it's like kind of a crime on your part to not be vocal about the fact that you're emotionally unavailable,
which is catnip to men, by the way.
Yeah.
So
looking for a fun time, I think is fair. Oh yeah, like 500 Days of Summer, my least favorite movie about like the biggest fuck girl in the game. Which, by the way, I know people are gonna take umbrage with that because, you know, she was honest the whole time. But I actually watched that movie, and as a Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that scenario, a chronic Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that scenario, I was very triggered by 500 Days of Summer. I do think that if you put out there, though, and you say, like, if you're just very transparent about it, looking for a fun time, looking to date, have fun experiences, but not necessarily looking for a relationship right now, you need to put that out there. I think that's...
Maybe there could be, like, a badge, like, I mean, not for this caller, but for others, like you were mentioning about the eyes, there could be a badge that's, like, dead inside yes. or, you know, not able to commit without 75 more hours of therapy. Don't have any plans to make a therapy appointment. Yes. You know, just like something very clear. I also, like, this is totally unrelated, but it reminds me of a friend telling me about an experience on Tinder she had recently, which was that a guy reached out to her and said that he was kind of in between places.
Yeah.
And she said, so wait, you're homeless? And
like living places?
Yeah. And he said, I prefer the term nomadic. So
okay,
that was really, and then he kept asking her, like, what are you watching on Netflix? What are you eating? And it was just, there was so much dark humor in that for me.
Yeah.
And also the balls on that dude.
Yeah.
To just be, I'm an artisanal nomadic.
Yeah, no. It's like I definitely like had this one uncle when I was growing up who.
It's a dark start to any story.
I know. I had this one uncle who, I was very, very, my aunts and uncles were more like siblings to me because my grandparents were like essentially my parents like growing up, and I grew up like in the house with a lot of them. My mom had me young, so like my youngest uncle was like 16 when I was born. So I grew up really close with him, and I remember there was a lot like there was this like kind of like narrative with him that like he wasn't dating in his early 20s, especially when he was like going through law school still, because he wasn't quote unquote in a financial position to date, which I actually like at the time we all thought that was weird. We were like, what is this excuse? But like now that I look back on it, like absolutely fucking yes. Like you need to be in a position in your life to date. There was that whole thing that went viral recently, which like I realized like I was following the writer who wrote it, and I was like, ooh, honey.
What thing? I love rabbit holes like that.
It was about how her husband didn't have a bed when they met.
Oh my.
And it like went like all these women I respect, and this was a huge turning point for me because I think you might be the same. I am like unfortunately transparent. Like I offer up unflattering stories about myself all the time, to the point where I've had boyfriends be like, when you see people, you don't have to say the last embarrassing thing you did when you saw them, right? And I'm like, no. I'm like, that's like, to me, I'm like, I'd rather just acknowledge it / like laugh about it than be like, let's ignore this like tragic thing I did last time we hung out. So I remember like being like, oh, okay. So like people think I'm crazy because I offer up these details about myself. But when they actually offer up a real detail about their life, like they've all been dating / marrying men without fucking beds, like y'all are crazy. I've never even gone on a date with a guy who didn't have a bed, let alone like marry a man like that had a mattress on the floor.
Yeah, let me be clear. They're not like, it's not like they're sleeping on a pile of old.
No,
like,
some
New
of
Yorkers.
them like were like some of them were like, when I first met my guy, like he didn't have even a mattress. And I was like, they're all like stubborn about it. Like some woman was saying that like my husband still has a hard time with the fact that we have a bed frame.
I saw something that was like, oh, and he only had one towel. And I was just like, ooh.
Like, bye, bitch. Fucking bye, bitch. Like, I mean, guys do have a shockingly, like, they always have bad linens. They always have weird fucking towels that are just like beat up terry cloth $3 specials from like, I don't even know what. But, and I'm like, I'm a person that like, I like my big lush white bath sheets. Like, that's who I am. Like, yes, I live like a fucking
I love a bath
hoarder
sheet.
kook, but like, I have nice linens. All my linens are nice. I've put my face on them. So, that was the whole thing for me recently, where I realized that I don't know how I got on this topic, but like apparently bitches out there are marrying guys who don't even have fucking beds. Like that.
See, I would completely date someone who didn't have a bed and be fine with that, because I just to me, like, I try to be, I guess, aggressively open-minded, because I know that I mean, honestly, I think it's probably just like daddy complex shit. Like when my dad came back from the war, he was so like messed up looking. People would pass out when they saw him, and had all these. Well, yeah. And so like, I think that it's so deeply ingrained in me, like just from being a little girl and seeing like how people looked at him, that I always wanted to like take the side. I have that very contrarian thing where I'm just like, well, you don't know. Maybe he gave his bed to a woman who needed it for her family,
right?
Baby ducklings,
right?
Like, have you done the so? I mean, and probably that doesn't always serve me well.
Sure.
But,
no, it's a good quality to have. And like, people were definitely in my mentions being like, you don't know his financial situation. And I was like, okay, I just Googled it. Like, a Harvard frame is $29 from Walmart. Like, yeah, if you don't, to me,
like the guys who will have like a really nice TV and sound system, but
if you have a MacBook
to like watch.
Also, they could have been like Brody from Homeland, where he preferred to sleep in a closet initially.
Well, you know what?
When
God
he got
bless.
back.
Oh, I know what it was.
And then he also tried to assassinate the vice president.
Yeah, but see, you're
just
gonna be hung up on that one little detail, aren't you?
Yeah,
tried to kill the vice president.
But
he was a shadow terrorist.
I love Homeland so much.
I've never
so
seen
stupid.
it.
Do you want to go listen to jazz and lose our?
Yeah, let's lose our shit and listen to jazz. It's a fun. I mean, I don't know what kind of shows you like, but Homeland is a fun.
I know
watch.
my best friend Ed and his dad, like that's their religion. They like watch it together. But no, this is what I was gonna say is that like in my mind, I think this is a real journey I went on because when people were saying like you don't know their socioeconomic situation, I'm like, you know what, you're right, I don't. But if you don't have $29 or free on Craigslist to like go get a bed frame.
Yeah, I've gotten beds that way.
Yeah, of course. Like literally,
I
like
mean, if you're
a man named Carrie gave me
in the apartment, if they have like a nice TV system, if they have like nice like a MacBook.
My point is this. Is that there are certain things in life that like if you don't have $29 to go get a bed, maybe right now isn't the position in life. You're not in a position in life to be dating. That's where I think I started with this is that there are certain things in your life that you should have. Can you go get fucked? Yeah. Can you like go home with someone from a bar? Can you do these things? Absolutely. But like when it comes to like wanting to actually date someone seriously and take it seriously, and trust me, I am a person where it's like you can live in a mansion or like in some like tenement and like as long as you're laughing, you're fine. But I don't think you start
laughing next to a bed though.
Yeah, laughing next to a bed. But like you don't start out with like on the baseline, I sleep on my laundry. Like I think that's
what the guy slept on was on his laundry.
I mean,
he sounds really severely depressed. I mean, anyone unless he's Brody or unless he's like a really unorthodox renegade chiropractor.
I mean, it was.
I mean,
what the thing was is it ran the fucking gamut. Like there was women who were like, when I first walked into my husband's house and I saw my now husband's house and I saw that he had a bed, like I knew there had to be something wrong with him. And sure enough, I found a can of rotting spaghetti like sauce and in his shower, and I was like, okay, these are women like I admire. Like
I once hired a maid for a guy that I dated for like a week because he hadn't cleaned out his refrigerator in 6 months, and
you had only been dating this man for a week and you called him a maid.
Yeah, I used to really just kind of I used to just really try to project a dream partner to save me on anyone who said one right thing that kind of hit and made me feel alive.
That's interesting because it feels like you were kind of saving them or a little bit in that scenario.
Yeah, that was he was also one of the guys who I have a good track record of men immediately telling me, that they have thought about suicide or tried to commit suicide.
Lots of that.
Sometimes they're like, I think I have a pretty solid core base of fans who are open, married, suicidal.
Yeah.
And like if I could just tap that, then I would be,
Some guy
a thousandaire.
On Tinder the other day was like, he was like, I'm in an open, he immediately got defensive about it in his profile. And he was like, I'm in an open marriage if you can fathom that. And I'm like, first of all, you're insulting my intelligence. Like, yes, I can fathom that you're in an open marriage. Secondly, like, can you calm down? Like, secondly, you should be meeting bitches in the wild. Like, bottom line, I think it's a really fucking extra to be in an open marriage and be on Tinder. Like, that's a lot to ask of the public at large. Like, to be swiping on you and to B, accept your untraditional marriage. I think maybe you should be at the Griffin, like trying to cruise on chicks.
The thing that like frustrates me about being because I'm bisexual, I get a lot of couples being like, hey, we're looking for, and I just like, I'm not interested in a multiple. I just don't, there's a lot of performance anxiety. I think I have a hard time not being jealous. That's not what I'm interested in.
Also, bisexuality doesn't like equal threesome.
Yeah, that you want to do it at the same time. Right. Yeah,
Yeah. People never use the term, I mean, they do, but it's, bisexual is used less and less, I feel like nowadays.
Yeah, which is a problem with
gender identity.
Well, no, I think it's also because it's becoming so much more like micro communities that like people who used to use bisexual as an umbrella term for everything are now have words to identify things that more align with their sexual preferences.
Yeah.
So like a demisexual is just a person who can only have sexual relations when they're in love with someone. Like they have to have actual like love feelings. And so like, but that could be with anyone. So they would previously identify as bisexual. And the actual definition of bisexuality has evolved. So like before it was really heavily lenient on the binary as is in the name. But now it just means, for me at least, and from where a lot of other bisexual advocates, it's just people of my own gender and other genders. So I don't know where I was going with this, but I get a lot of couples.
Have you guys ever seen the show Polyamory on Showtime?
Are you fucking kidding me? That's my favorite show. I probably rewatch it like once every 3 months.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude,
thank you.
Literally,
can we go to San Diego and watch their play?
It's my legitimate religion. Either improv group. Yeah. I want to see
that's the best show ever made.
Dude, Kamala Devi.
Kamala.
Do you know that Jen and Tal got divorced and Jen's now married to Jesse?
What?
Yeah, they had a steampunk themed wedding.
Stop.
It's like brilliant.
How did that show go off the air?
Well, I think honestly, they stepped it. I think they stepped in shit with because Showtime was always done like softcore porn narrative.
Yeah, but they don't really have. But they have never really had like a breakout hit in the last like 10 years.
Yeah,
Showtime.
The only one is Homeland. Like I can't name anything.
Billions is doing, I think, pretty well.
Smilf or whatever.
But that is the best show. That's my favorite. I just started it
the other day.
It's also like not known for reality. You know what I mean? It's not like a play
Gigolos.
Gigolos.
I once went on
everything.
I once went on a date with a gigolo. And I made him watch that show, and he was like, "Oh my god!" He was so
apparently. I like the hot, like not the hot gigolo. The one I think is the hot gigolo is the one that's like my friends are basically like Molly. Like he has like developmental issues. My friends who are really fucking into it are like Molly. Like you. Why do you have a crush on the guy that's like kind of slow? And I'm like, he's not slow. He's like hot. My friends literally roast. They're way more into gigolos than I am. So they roast me for it all the time.
You should go on a date with him. I bet he'd be open to it.
Honey, no, I don't. I couldn't.
How much does that go for?
No, I mean, you could do it.
My friends
charge.
hired. Who's the blonde one that's like hot? That's like his name's like Ice or something. My friends hired her.
That guy's hilarious.
They hired him for her 40th
I have no idea what you
birthday.
guys are talking about.
Anyway, polyamory.
Yeah, just Google Gigolo Showtime and you'll see. Yeah, there's one whose name is like Zanetron.
Yes. They
and
hired him.
He's like orange brown.
With like blonde, like Guy Fieri, like blonde hair.
He's amazing.
6 seasons?
Yeah, girl, Gigolos like is real. But I think
I almost went on that show too. By the way,
I am
as like a date.
Yeah,
were you gonna like do the softcore?
You know who told me not to do it was Dave Attell and Jim Norton.
Yeah.
Great. I was like, and my mom wrote me a whole note that was like, maybe you should go to one of your sex addiction meetings, honey. And I thought, say yes to everything, right? And apparently.
That's a hard no from me.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you didn't do that.
Thank you.
Just because I feel like that would be catching up to you for the rest of your life. Like if America saw you fuck, like that's a lot. Anyway, to answer your question, I think that polyamory married dating.
If you look good at the time, I could see why you would want to preserve.
What do you mean at the time? I mean, I look always good now. I only look better every day.
About,
it's
Kim
true.
Kardashian did her Playboy 100%. Shoot. It was Chris who was like, "You're never gonna look this good again."
Which, by the way, JK, because Kim is like only getting better looking. But okay, I will to answer your question. I think the polyamory married and dating stepped in shit second season when they brought in that triad. That was first of all
not consensual triad.
Not nearly as attractive as season 1, where they were just really honestly the most pure, sweet people. Right. Vanessa and Lindsay are still together, by the way. But Anthony, I guess, was arrested for threatening someone's life.
Oh
like
my
it was
God.
like really like dark. I mean, he is Italian. He's very passionate. But I think that it brought in this other triad that was just like they really muddied the waters about what that definition was. The wife was bi, and like basically they brought in this other girl. For those of you at home who still have not watched the series, that every single week I think I demand you guys watch this show. So I don't know why you haven't gotten around to it yet. You need to activate that 7-day free trial of the Showtime extension on the Hulu app because it is life. It's such a good show. one time I thought they pulled it from the app from Hulu, and I like literally was like I was like deactivating my account. I was like writing a letter to the president. I'm like, dear Mr. Hulu, like you fucked up. What have you done?
What was the name of the gigolo that you were into? I have the cast of characters.
His name's like he's like literally like named like David. He's not bright. Like and by the way, I've come to realize maybe he's not that attractive. Maybe there was something in him that I was drawn to. I don't think his name's really David. He's like a brunette. He probably looks slow as hell. Like Ed would pick the ugly one. That's definitely who it is.
When I was working at XOJane, I had a reader reach out to me and say that she learned self-love by hiring gigolos and that she lost a bunch of weight. And when she had this reward system of like hire a gigolo when you lose X amount of pounds.
I could see if
smart.
you like had dating anxiety.
Give yourself a treat.
Like,
I think it was like
a really good way to like dip your toe in the
trauma
water.
Healing type thing for her.
You know, that's the thing though, is that like for me that would bring on a lot of dating anxiety. Like whenever a guy's like really, for me, I think that a lot of times when I've had guys be like, hey, like just like, you know, you should loosen up, like you're a beautiful person or whatever. I'm just like, this is about you. Like this is about loosening me up and getting me more comfortable so then you can then have sex with me. This is just a long road this is like you trying to come, or like this is a foot through the back door sort of thing. Not, you know, literally. Right. But
well, there's also like the whole like Brene Brown definition of true vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like true vulnerability and trust is something that's built over time. It's not like an immediate vulnerability dump, which was like very shocking for me to learn. You know, I figure you just like unload on someone, you know, 3 years worth of therapy and you're like, look how vulnerable I am. But like, no, that's actually kind of a burden when you just throw all that shit on someone. But I think it's
done.
But I think it's the same thing when a guy is immediately like, you know, I can see the kind of person that you are, and you're like, we just met.
That's a harsh manipulation.
10 minutes ago, yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those ways that guys kind of talk to you that, which I guess this goes back to our caller, is that like, you know, when you are, it's lacking in self-awareness. It's doing that thing that I hate, which is just assuming everyone's a little bit dumber than you. That like a woman wouldn't be able to see that is exactly what you're doing, is just trying to get in their pants. You know, I'm sure there are men out there that want to genuinely empower women, but like when someone from the jump is like, I'm like, no, this is about you want to like fuck my feet or something. Like
you've read The Game, right?
Oh my God, I've read it like 3 times. I love that you're like touching on all of my favorite little things. Like I've read The Game too many times for a straight woman. Like I'm just so familiar with the text. It's really like, it's very informative.
My favorite sample nig from The Game is those buck teeth make you look so cute.
Oh yeah,
it's like such a perfect illustration
of like
of an egg. Yeah.
I had a guy say to me on a date once. It was like it was such a it was almost like a highbrow egg that I was like, this is too nuanced. Like he's like, you have like melasma, and I was like, are you like accusing me of like a rare hormonal skin condition? Like this is.
Well, I don't even know what that is.
It's like when
it sounds like a really like fancy perfume.
It's like, I know, right? I wish. Melasma is like when you get like pregnant women get it a lot. It's like dark hormonal spots, and like it can show up, and like it's like basically like it's a combination of hormones and sun damage. And I'm like, okay, let's take our next call. Just be honest, girl. All right, thank you.
Okay, hey Malls. It's me. I need this to be very anonymous, but I'm basically at a friend's house right now. It's a couple. It's like a man-woman couple who I know really well, and I know the man way better and way longer. And me and the male partner have been talking about like a threesome, not really a threesome, but just like me watching them or like observing, basically just like a kinky situation. Oh my God, I'm already regretting leaving this voicemail right now. Anyway, I'm here right now and I just like don't know how to like make the transition and be like can I watch you guys fuck? So this is actually probably not appropriate to play on the pod. I don't know. I've never heard you answer a call like this. It's like so sexual, but I would really, really like to see them fuck. And I'm in this place in my life right now where I just like have been having like such vanilla sex with a boyfriend for so long, and I just dumped him like a month and a half ago. And I just really, really want to watch them screw. And I don't know how to do it. And the girlfriend is kind of in the dark. She's like not really like in on the scheme, but I know she'll be down. But like, I just don't know how to like bridge the gap. How do I ask them? How do I do this? Is this really foolish? Like, help me. Also, don't play this call if you think it sounds as crazy and stupid as I think it sounds. Okay, I love you. Love you, Christina. Don't make fun of me. Please don't roast me. Okay, love you. Bye.
Right? No, first of all, the only thing I'll roast you about is the fact that you are like, I don't know who the fuck you are. Like high key, who do you think you are?
The number was 817-6. No.
But this isn't your job, actually. This is about if you and the guy have been talking, which I don't love, by the way.
Yeah, I found that a little bit
I
shady.
don't love that you and him are having these conversations about his intimate life without the girlfriend's involvement. I think that that's really fucking weird. And if I was the girlfriend, I'd be unsoothed, to say the least.
I would be humiliated.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's humiliating to know that there is an intimate conversation that's been happening and that there's been an entire scheme that is being enacted and, operation.
I do think it's
have
abusive.
This hot chick watch me fuck my girlfriend who has no idea what the fuck's going on is
the more you say it, the more I'm like, that is I think a form of sexual assault. Now that I really think about it, because anytime
do you
someone's
think it's like, okay, we're gonna get her drunk this night?
I think it's like anytime there's an unaware party in a sexual scenario, like, I mean, I look back on like even just like fucking a 30-year-old. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, Molly. By the way, this call is not too dirty. And like, yes, more of this, please. 323-450-7408. Always call us about whatever you want. If I don't care if it's, don't call me about my Glossier order, but then not call me about your threesome. I need to know all the deets. I
don't even know how to to categorize this, because it's not cuckolding. It's not a threesome. She just wants to
she wants to be a watcher.
Yeah, it's exhibitism.
It's voyeurism, right?
Yeah, voyeurism.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
But I by the way, voyeurism is like such an underexpressed category. I mean, that's what porn is. It's about watching. People love to watch and be watched.
People love
frankly.
to be watched.
Yeah. But I think that, first of all, this is a conversation between him and his partner before it's a conversation between any two people. And I think it needs to start there. I think the most common ways that guys talk their girlfriends into a threesome, from what I understand, or even a viewing situation, is to be like, I would love to see you with another girl. It's not about, I think, the saying like, can we fuck another chick together? It's about, I want to see you with another girl. That's everything I've always heard about how guys kind of convince someone to have a threesome. But they need to have that conversation first. And I understand your involvement in it, but it almost feels like you guys have been having like some weird, almost like IRL phone sex of sorts. This is how you guys are talking about it. I'm uncomfortable with the fact that he's having these conversations.
I feel bad that we're demonizing the girl, though, because I mean, maybe I'm just going to do the guy who gave his mattress up to the family of baby ducklings type extreme empathy. Maybe the boyfriend girlfriend are in an open relationship, and that's why it was okay, and she wasn't going behind the chick's back. And maybe,
I'm not vilifying our caller.
Okay, yeah,
I'm putting this on the guy.
Okay,
like it's always. By the way, it's always about the guy. It's never like if you're the other, quote unquote, the other woman. It's not about you. It's about the guy. It's about what he's trying to pull off. Basically, it's not about being a mistress. I don't think the mistress is always in the wrong. It's about the guy. I think that he saw that you're single, you're available, that you want to get into more kinky stuff, and he decided to run with that. Which, by the way, like, yeah, I think a lot of people out there would say he'd be a fool not to, but like, you have to, I think he needs to have that conversation with her before you do anything. And I would really strongly advocate for that, because the last thing you want, especially if you're friends with her, is to create a situation in which she feels uncomfortable with you, that she doesn't want to be your friend, that she later on feels manipulated by you, or if she finds out that you guys have been discussing this. If I was the other woman in this scenario, if I was the chick, I would feel quite ashamed by that, and I would have a hard time being the voyeur in that situation, knowing that she didn't know. So I think the first thing you do to get this party started is to have him have a conversation with her. And to, I mean, you guys, it sounds like a little bit like she's buzzed, but you guys got to get a lot more drunk than that. Like, you do. Like, I can't possibly imagine doing that sober.
Yeah, I think that, like, just from a very practical standpoint of like, what is the line that you say aloud verbally to say, hey, let's get this party started. I mean, as weird as it seems, I think just actually saying something like what you're thinking is an okay thing to do, because, I mean, if there's not anything that is secretive or because you shouldn't be manipulating, in a situation like that. There's like fun sexual tension, and then there's manipulation, and I think that if you are trying to get someone to do something that they didn't actually want to do, then yeah, you're not, like, it's not going to be fun. You're going to feel like kind of grody about it afterwards, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's also about you going out with her and like having a fucking shopping day or something at the mall, and then you're getting beers at Red Robin after or something, and you're like, by the way, like, you and Mike or whatever are a really fucking hot couple, and like, I would love to watch you fuck sometime. Just like, literally just say it out loud. Just say, like, I really appreciate your relationship. I think you guys are really hot together. Like, I'm really into that. I think that definitely, if you are a drinker or whatever, I would say that there needs to be some sort of substance involved. I feel like I don't really know anyone that does this sober unless they've done it before.
I would say, like, really carefully toe the line of being drunk and being shit-faced, because then you want to be sure about what you're consenting to.
Oh, yeah. I would no. I wouldn't say, like, wait till she's in a blackout. By the way, did you guys see a really fucking fat-ass butterfly just fly by that window?
I was trying to figure out what you were so distracted by.
No, literally, like, unless I'm having some sort of, like, I don't know what, like, whatever they call it when you have those visions.
Deja vu?
No. Actually, apparently it's commonly associated with hypomania, but women have that, like, natural fear instinct.
Oh,
where, like,
fight or flight kind of deal?
Yeah, where you're like looking for potential things. Like,
shit.
I just, in my periphery, I saw this, like, just a fucking fat ass butterfly. Like, I can't tell you how big that thing was. Like, it was really big. It just flew by the window and it caught me real hard. Damn, butterfly. Look at my sad rose tree that died out there. That's so sad. It's hard to look at. It's like,
this is such a beautiful place. This is basically the book The Secret Garden, brought to life. Yeah, I love it.
That's why I got this house. It's only 875 square feet, but it's like, it's lush as fuck back there. Like, I can't stop talking about it because I never really look out this window.
We have to take another picture of the lush.
It's gorge.
Greenscape for Please Advise
Nation.
It's
fucking gorge. It's the grass is really growing, by the way. Thank God that drought is over. Can I just bring up a little side thing? One of my biggest pet peeves when I'm hanging out with someone I don't know well. So when they, like, go in the bathroom and they're clearly taking a shit and they start running the faucet really fucking loud. And I'm like, dude, we live in a drought. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you better be, like, washing your hands or washing your face and something in there. If you're just taking a shit and purely running the faucet because you think, I know you're taking a shit. That's why the faucet's on. So let's just, like, fucking cut the illusion in half. Like, it really drives me nuts. Like, I'm sorry.
Make you a sign to put up in your bathroom that says that.
If you're taking a shit, don't run the water. Yeah.
Don't run the water.
Just, like, stop.
I think that helps them with whatever their poop anxiety might be. That might be like a public
I do it to cover it up. I think I'm super sneaky. I wouldn't do it here because we're in California And I wouldn't do it anywhere else.
Is it because
I'm aware.
Would you just cough instead? Like, what do you?
Does the water running?
Not just give a shit.
Does the water running like?
Sometimes if you have to take a shit, you take a shit. You know?
But wait, if the water's running, like, does it help with the smell?
No, I think it's more the sound of plopping that is disguised.
And gas, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the initial little,
And they, like,
attempts.
maybe psychologically need to know that sound is happening so that they can relax a little bit more and, like, be able to poop comfortably.
And if it's a guy,
so
they
dark.
don't want you to have that distraction as to what you think
As
of
if
them.
the, like... after from the like air can spray afterwards isn't like a dead giveaway.
Or like even just I'm like if someone turns on the shower, I'm like, unless you come out here sopping wet, like I know what just happened. Like don't insult my intelligence. Like it's fine. Like
the shower's going and they come out completely
oh my
dry.
God. When someone turns on the shower, I'm like, what is going on in there? We're gonna like Nazi warfare is happening in there that you have to like go do this whole like it's just so dark to me.
Also, like people get obsessive about being clean after they take a poop. So like some people like
some people literally shower,
Yeah.
but like when people just turn it on in vain, I'm like, this is
like I knew a guy who had to
Honey.
shower every single time after he pooped.
I dated a guy who like got sick once and like literally he probably took like 98 showers while I was at his house. And I'm like, I get it. You have diarrhea. Like what's happening? Like, can I go home? Like, what? Why do we have to like, I shouldn't have come over. Like if,
But would you prefer hearing the poop noises over the like wasting of the water?
I mean, I'm Irish Catholic, so I pretend nothing happened all the time. Like I'm constantly in a state of just like nothing happened. I'm
constantly
in
in a fugue
denial.
state.
It's all okay. Like, it's all just like, yeah.
I think I'm going to transcribe this entire discussion and then print it out on like a calligraphy scroll that you can then hang up in your bathroom, and it'll give someone like some reading material.
I'm Irish Catholic. That's the part where they get to. Totally. I'm really happy about that. I would love that. Thank you. That'd be very
you're welcome.
generous.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways, so there's that. But what is she calling about? Sex? Yeah, just do it. I mean, like, what do you want? Just do it. What else am I supposed to say?
I mean,
he needs to have a conversation with her.
Can I do like a little like act out improv kind of like, okay,
Let's do
so
it, yeah.
I'm the girl.
Who's the girlfriend?
Well, like you two are the
girlfriend.
you two are the couple.
Oh, okay.
Am I the man?
And I'm the
woman?
girl.
I don't think we say anything. I'm just gonna talk.
Yeah, and I'm the girl who's made the phone call. I've just hung up. Quick.
I just want to get into character.
You want to receive it like a man. Okay.
Yeah, so say whatever you're going to say, and then I'll start. Say whatever as the guy.
I don't think we were supposed to talk. I think she was just going to talk.
Well, I wanted you to the chance to get into character. So just say something that guy might say.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's a fine thing to say.
Let's move on.
Oh my God. So I would say, I am just wondering, have you guys have talked about the thing that we've talked about, right? About what we might potentially do.
Ooh, that could start some shit, girl.
I mean, I would be fine with that though, because, well, that's probably also why I wrote a
Burned
book
down
called
their
Unwifeable. Yeah. But I mean, I guess you're right. Okay. So don't throw out this entire role play. Use it.
Whoa. That's not how we talked about how we were going to talk about this.
Yeah.
her back.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking behind her
totally
back.
threw me under the bus.
Yeah.
I don't know why I sound like I'm from the California.
That's why everyone hates me. So don't listen to my advice. Oh, thanks.
I do think that's really lousy advice.
I think that's really lousy advice.
I think the man should like eliminate himself from the scenario. I definitely think this is
do
like
the
a
opposite
woman-to-woman conversation.
Yeah, do the opposite of what I just said. See, it was like a little trick. It was a little trick. And
that is very like, so I just fucked two Italian guys. Are we getting married or what?
that falls into the same like earthworm in my brain scenario. Yeah. So you can have me on as the like bad advice giver, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. You're not lousy at giving advice. And actually, this has been a slow burn for me because the more you say it, the more, if I was this caller, I personally would be offended that this guy has been having these conversations with me without involving his wife.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's my extreme optimism applied to a situation and just hoping that, I'm just assuming that the wife was in on it. Yeah. And that you would say it then in the context of it being clear that he wasn't just, but you're totally right. I'm just willfully ignoring the fact that you're probably right that the wife has no idea. But I'm going back and forth. I kind of think that she probably is, because like that chick sounded like she was having a super sexy, buzzy penthouse. Like,
I can almost guarantee that the guy has floated the idea to his girlfriend. Of course.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I don't know that she knows that, because she wouldn't be so weirded out about bringing it up if both of them knew. And she knew that both of them knew, because it seems like she has to get someone on board. And it sounds like it's the other girl.
Right. But I'm saying for sure, like, he's floated the idea to test the waters, to be like, she'd be down for it.
But okay, so let's say that I've had a guy bring up a threesome to me, to then find out that he's been scouting my friends. And had a conversation with
immediate divorce.
Yeah, that's like, this is
it really is. I mean, that to me is just like a level of humiliation that is just irreconcilable.
It's the scouting that bothers me. And frankly, that's it. If not divorce, that's at least we have to talk to someone.
And I think that if it's the case where the woman has no idea, but I think likely from the sexy time vibe we got from that call, that everyone, you don't have someone, if you are a married couple and you've got like a sexy girl talking in that sexy voice and everyone is talking sexy things, like more than likely the wife isn't just like, so are we going to play Pictionary now?
Right.
You know, I mean, I kind of just think that has to have been something that he has dirty talked to his wife about.
She was calling us like in this scenario, like call us back and let us know what you did.
What happened that night? Exactly. Like, first of all, how many times now are you looking back on like conversations you've had with, I don't know if you're like me and like very clueless in the moment, and then look back and like, oh my God, that was the most obvious, like she was hitting on me, duh, like the whole time. I feel like, especially with chicks, and by the way, which is why I don't envy your situation at all, Christina, because it's hard to know like if someone's gonna go for it or not. Like, I've definitely had chicks hitting on me and I'm like, I think she's hitting on me, but like that would be really weird. Like,
well, like the thing is, like, women form emotional intimacy really quickly, and that can be misconstrued for like romantic. Yeah, I can have a romantic implication. So it's just like, what do you do? Do you only hit on people in gay spaces?
Right.
Like, to be sure.
But sometimes you're like, okay, like that girl's a little drunk. Like, I think she's hitting on me, but I don't know for sure. I think the way that this girl called, like, I feel like she probably touched the girl's hair or something that night and like a little like lingered, like,
or like a little shoulder.
Like when a girl starts like touching my hair and stuff, I'm like, are you like, what is happening right now? Like, what?
That happens to me a lot when people get drunk around me, because I've written and talked about sex so much that I think it's like I'm, you know, just like an option on the menu. They're like, you've done some shit.
Yeah,
you know?
You'd be down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without thinking like it matters who's involved in the situation. It's not that you're down for that.
No, and I'm specifically thinking of the drunken touching of the hair. Like, I don't fuck around with just being sober. Like, that seems like that would be, I don't know, I wouldn't feel right about I wouldn't.
Oh, you mean like consensual?
Well, yeah, just if someone is normally super reserved and, you know, like buttons their top, yeah, exactly, and you can tell that they're not really themselves. You know, it's just like, why that to me is like hiring a gigolo. It's like a
maybe
slam dunk. Why would you want?
Always there? It's just turned down like when they're sober.
Yeah. I think there's like good buzzed, and then there's like. If you showed a person a videotape of their behavior the next day, they could never look you in the eyes again, buzzed. Yeah. You know, which is, I guess, not buzzed. That's like
I'd fuck
drunk.
The exchange student drunk. Like, you know.
Yeah.
The metaphorical exchange student in this, and I don't know what that means. I'm just thinking of when my aunt had an exchange student and how weird that would be if they hooked up. Anyway, we
had exchange students who watched us shower naked when we were teenagers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they told us that at the end of their stay, that they could see through, because there was like a glass thing in the curtain.
Oh,
and it was these guys from Denmark that were like, by the way, we could see you shower. That was not it. That was like totally insulting like Hispanic accent that I just did there.
No,
but that was my attention.
That could be vaguely
I was trying to.
It went like a Canadian Hispanic.
Yeah, I was trying to do. I don't know what the Denmark accent is. I don't remember.
Canadian Hispanic moment.
But one of them was named Trolls, and the other one.
No, it's not. No, his
name
was Trolls.
He was so hot, and his name was Trolls. And he looked like Kurt Cobain. And then the other one wasn't as hot, but he would blast Bon Jovi.
No.
Which is kind of hot.
No. I guess, I don't know. You guys might be into that.
I mean, it was the 90s.
It's a hard no for me.
So.
I just realized, though, my aunt's exchange students were Japanese, and maybe I should try and connect with them when I go to Japan.
I'm going to introduce you to my podcast partner, my sometime podcast partner, Graham Smith, who's in a band, Kleenex Girl Wonder, who he is huge in Japan.
Oh, really?
And yeah, has like his records have gone gold there. And so he's been to Japan multiple times and probably has some good advice, I would imagine.
That sounds good. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah. I've had, by the way, just a flat out, hey, what's up? So many people have connected me to like their friends that are like, they're, people who are living in Japan.
Yeah, you're probably already connected.
No, but I want to, I because I've been paralyzed with fear about my trip up until literally 2 nights ago when I realized I decided to check a couple hotels and they were fully booked. And I was like, oh, like you are such a dumbass. Like, I guess I just was like, who's going to Japan? And like BTW, Japan is the new like having babies on my Instagram feed. Like I feel
I know
like
so many people who are going the same week you are. It's wild.
It's because it's cherry blossom season.
No, I know, but it's like never been this prolific in
Dude,
my life.
I'm telling you, like it's like you're either having babies or going to Japan. Like you have 2 options on my Instagram feed, Japan or babies. Like that's it.
Isn't that where Shoshana went on Girls?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's why though.
No, I know. I just
oh, yeah.
I really wanted to add that into the conversation as my contribution.
Yeah. But yeah, she like works there. I was like, Japan seems very smooth and very chic. But I didn't realize that like, oh, you're like not getting into a lot of the hotels that you should. And I booked a lot through Expedia because I just was like getting desperate and weird. And I was like, I wanted to do a mixed situation of staying in like when I go to Osaka, I'm staying in like a $33 a night Airbnb, which
cool.
inflated my hotel budget, which is great. But it was hard to find like, I also really want to stay in nice hotels too. I know that I've been calling myself Big Molly because I feel like I feel like I'm gonna be a giant there. Like I know.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7.5", like a 5'8". You're
nice.
6'2".
I'm 6'2".
But I'm kind of, people always think I'm going to be short and fat. Like they definitely always think I'm going to be, people are always like, wow, you're like smaller person than I thought you would be. I'm like, I know I look like I should be fat. Like I know that it's probably because of my personality and the fact that I have a round face. I can imagine that a lot of people would think that that's probably why they always think I'm going to be like 5'2" and like $180. But
I think and I mean, this is the stupidest possible thing to say, but I think I thought you would just look like adorable, and that's exactly how you look.
Thank you, especially because I haven't showered in like 3 days.
Yeah, but you're the kind of person who like it's impossible to. There are some people who like they have this snot, kind of like build up and runs, and you don't. Yeah, there are certain people who it's just not.
Well, thank you, especially because I feel like I'm the grossest person in the world right now with my sinus infection, which is, by the way, a lot better. Thank you. And
good. I'm glad.
If America out there is wondering, yes, I did have to cry to get antibiotics, which is the darkest story of my life. The fact that I'm like, who's like, you think I'm like that kind of person that I'm out there abusing antibiotics? Like, what kind of fun, sexy time is that? But anyway, I keep calling myself Big Molly because from the very beginning of me booking my Japan trip, I got really like, everyone was like, you got to stay at one of those places. It's like you just sleep in a stall or whatever.
Oh God, no.
And I'm like, I know me. I have like a hard time walking into a room gracefully, let alone like anywhere I go in Japan. I'm already worried about being like a fucking chick Logan Paul and being accidentally disrespectful, and like I've had like nightmares about like just disrespecting the culture somehow, and I know that like God forbid like I go out and have some sake bombs or whatever by myself, which I would absolutely do. Yeah. Like I'm going to that robot bar alone. I had to book like a table for one. But I'm just like, I'm going to get hammered alone, and then like coming back and like crawling into my stall and I seeing all my friends go, like their suitcases are all like neatly lined up. I'm like, I'm just not a neat person. Like anywhere I go, it looks like a bomb was set off within 5 minutes of me being there. So,
you're the big Molly bomb.
A big Molly.
Oh yeah, actually don't make bomb jokes.
Oh,
because it's Japan.
Oh, I mean, yeah, bombs are sensitive I think they're sensitive everywhere, right? Are they extra sensitive in Japan?
Yeah.
Well, like World War II.
Because of,
Are you allowed to call it a sake bomb in Japan?
Probably. I'm sure you are. Yeah. No,
I just call it. I don't think you. Yeah, you probably just don't say bomb when traveling in general. Do you know? Have you been to the Burbank airport?
Particularly to countries that we dropped an atomic bomb.
I love it because it's the only airport I've ever been to in America. And I'm like, is this because like comedy writers like work in Burbank? I don't know, but there's literally signs all over the Burbank airport that say no jokes. Like don't make jokes.
Right.
And I'm always like, first of all, like only in Burbank would you see that, but like no jokes. Like it's the oddest sign I've ever seen.
I almost
in my life.
ruined someone's life and probably did temporarily ruin their life because when I was a reporter at the Des Moines Register, there was some business dude who was annoyed at airport security. This was like 98, 99. And they said, what do you have? Do you have anything, we should be concerned about? And he said, yeah, I have an A-bomb. And I think it got back to the flight maybe, and they had to ground it. But every day in the paper, I would write updates about what happened to this guy. And then his wife called me and she was like, you're ruining our life. And I was just like, I'm just like a 21-year-old reporter just doing what I'm told. But yeah, don't make the A-bomb joke.
I worked in like gossip.
That's hilarious.
At the time,
so no jokes.
And it says no jokes. It's like honestly,
that's a good sign.
And also like as if Burbank's like the joke capital of the world. Like I really don't understand like why that airport in general. Again, maybe it's because it's in the valley, but I seriously doubt that like the How I Met Your Mother writer's room was getting out and going directly to the Burbank airport. I really don't understand why
it's
those
so close to the WB lot.
You know,
it's a probability.
Just, like, people just walking off that hilarious ass WB lot.
It was during the Friends years, probably.
Yeah, seriously, exactly. I really don't understand why. It's so funny to me. We're gonna wrap this up because Mandy and I would have smoked a cigarette, but you know what, girl?
Can we do a Jessica Delfino question before we end it?
I just mean we're gonna wrap up this. This
okay,
curious
good.
This sexual awakening young lady.
Okay, good.
But call us and let us know if you got to watch your friends fuck. 323-450-7408. And even if you aren't that girl, call us about stuff like that. I would love to just hear you talk about fucking your friends. All right.
So Molly, we actually got an email from Mandy's friend, Jessica.
Okay, I'm excited to hear.
Are you curious as to like what she might have written?
Ooh, sis! Oh my god, Mandy's just showing me this. Wait, the brand is called Rude. It's RHUD, RHUDE, which is an offensive spelling in and of itself. But this is actually, I have a jacket like this. It's leather, but it doesn't say "Your loss, never mind."
I told Molly how I bought a jacket very quickly and didn't look at the writing on the back. And on the back, it says in gigantic letters, "Your loss, never mine."
Which, by the way, is such... So, do you mind if I say that?
That's very
Christina has a look like she just lost a loved one in her family.
It's so Fred Siegel, too, because only at Fred Siegel would they charge the amount of money that you paid for that for a jacket that says that. Like, and you know who would buy that? Ed.
It's also a very like, if you can't have me at my ex, you can't have me at my
yeah. The example I gave when I was trying to return it, and if anyone from Fred Siegel is listening, there's no excuse for being such a psycho bitch that I was when I was trying to return it, which they did not let me. So I apologize from the bottom of my soul, but
I don't.
But I forget what the fuck I was gonna say. What were we talking about?
You gave an example.
I said when I was trying to return it, I said this is like this is like something that says in giant letters, you can't afford me, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm a 42-year-old married woman. I would never buy something that says you're lost, never mind. But
Can't touch this.
Allison, yeah, exactly.
You wish.
Allison Freer, hopefully I'll be able to have so on. I'm trying to think, like, could it be or loss ever ein?
Yeah.
Like what would be, you know, how could I tweak the saying to be something that I full-heartedly support?
I think you're looking for some sort of like, what do they call those Harley Davidson dudes? Hell's Angels. Like, I think you're looking for some sort of like Hell's Angels style large ass patch.
Like
but
when they cover up
say
tattoos.
The placement has thrown me. Like, I'm telling you that I will tell you that I'm a little bit now more concerned than I was prior to seeing that photo.
No.
I think maybe you could get floral is very in right now. I think you could maybe get some like old style rose patches.
That's a good idea. Okay, roses. Yeah, there you go.
It's an aggressive. That is an aggressive jacket.
It's the most aggressive thing I've ever accidentally bought. I just thought it was a nice like black silk.
What I love is that it could not more clearly say that on the back, and I love that is such a panic purchase. That's such like I'm running late. I have to get this. I'm fucking freezing. Like and by the way, like I have done that too on the way to podcasts. Like I did a podcast in New York, and like the host was running literally 1 hour late, and I was in Dumbo and it was like breezy, and I didn't realize how fucking cold it was outside because it was also like summer. So it should not have been cold in New York. And I went and bought a jacket at this place, and like, it's not pretty. Like, it's not a cute jacket. And it was like it was very like Brooklyn artisanal, like fucking I don't vaccinate my children. That's basically the jacket might as well have said, I don't vaccinate my children.
Right.
And the host like roasted me about it. She was like, let's see this jacket. And she went to do like an on-air reveal. And I was like, I would prefer not to do an on-air reveal of this like panic purchase I had to make because you were running an hour late.
Right.
But then she like roasted me for like hours about this jacket that I like panic purchased because I was freezing and like there was nothing else to buy.
Oh, I wasn't freezing. I just wanted to cover up
your toothpaste.
This dress and sometimes you can make like I have a $2,600 leather jacket that I panic purchased, and I have worn that and gotten probably $5,000 to $10,000 worth of wear out of it. And I wanted something to immediately like fix my life, where it was just like, she may kind of like smell, but like she has it together. Look at this fucking jacket.
You know what you need to do is have just kidding. You need to just have just kidding like embroidered on the back. I think that's the save is you embroider something underneath it that's like just kidding. I'm an asshole. Like
just kidding. That's great.
Like that's I think the only JK like
JK LOL. Yeah.
I think that might be the move because I'm not really sure how else you remedy that. It was the placement that's really thrown me now.
Right.
But anyway, back to Jessica. So Jessica wrote a slew of questions. How do you know Jessica?
She was one of the first friends that I made in New York. She's a comedian, and we've just kind of known each other over the years. And she's a great, very talented woman. And she has actually she started a blog because she has one kid. And I guess there's a saying that you say when you only plan on having one kid, which is one and done.
Yeah, one and done.
Yeah, so she started a Medium blog that's called One and Done, and she kind of chronicles her.
One and done is also the expression they use in the Warner Brothers sexual harassment seminar.
What?
So like they say that like, yes, like, we don't discourage employee dating. It's fine. Because like, that was part of the thing is like, are you allowed to date a coworker? What if you meet someone? And they said that in terms of like hitting on someone at Warner Brothers, it's a one and done situation. So if you try it once and the person's like not feeling it, then you're done. So I love one and done as an expression because it's so true. Like you got to stop. If like sometimes there's things in life, you just got to break it at one. And I'm with you on that. I have to say, I grew up as an only child. And I have been having a little bit of just as a side tangent, I have been having a little bit of an emotional crisis because I often don't realize like how shitty my childhood was until someone else gives me perspective because it's the only child that I know.
Right.
And I've been watching this family on YouTube that's hiking the Appalachian Trail together, which is 2,000 miles. I don't know if you know, it takes 6 months to do the Appalachian Trail in completion. And they're like, everyone I know is like disgusted by these people. They think it's fucking insane that they would be doing this with 6 children under the age of 15. Their oldest is 15 and their youngest is 2. And everyone's like just mortified this family's doing this because the weather conditions are really rough and everything like that. And I realized the other day that the reason why I like it is very similar to the reason why I love Seventh Heaven, which is that I just was like so amazed by their togetherness. Like, and I think that was it. I don't know how I really started this except to say that like the only downside of being an only child is actually can be quite lonely. And you try and make up for it in other ways. Like, I'm a 34-year-old woman. I was going to say 32. I'm a 34-year-old woman that is like taking this out on this YouTube family and just like really savoring every minute, while everyone else I know is completely disgusted by their entire journey.
Right.
They think they're weird because they're Jews for Jesus, and like it's a lot. Anyway, back to Jessica again. Do you want Christina? So she wrote a bunch of questions, right?
She wrote like 4 questions.
Are
so
they
we
quickies?
Huh?
Are they quickies?
Yeah, we can do like lightning round ish.
Yeah,
Like,
sure. Yeah,
like quick takeaways. But some of these you can maybe get a little deep. I don't know.
I
so the
always
first
can.
question is, what are some easy ways to be a good friend? Easy only, please.
easy ways to be a
Listen.
good friend. I mean, Jessica is a very good friend. She texts me making sure, hey, are you feeling any better today? Inviting me over to like experience, the positive baby energy power. All of those things are, incredibly kind. And I think just, and she's done this and I've had other friends do it, and I should do it more, because whenever I do, it makes me feel really good. But when you tell someone just exactly why their kindness or, favor or hookup or insight into who you are or advice. I had someone give me really great advice about my marriage recently. And she just said, well, I think he's showing that his boundaries are that he doesn't want to talk to you when you're acting like this.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, well, that's actually a really good way to just kind of, and telling that person, I just want you to know I was completely lost without you. This was the day I was having until we had that conversation, rather than just, moving on to the next thing, but like really telling the person just what like a positive impact they had is really a nice thing to do. I don't know what your
vocalize. I mean, I'm the same. I do that through a thing that I actually have gotten a lot of compliments on from friends that I didn't realize would be as meaningful to them as I thought at the time, which is like, I just tend to keep a lot of like greeting cards on hand and stuff like that. And I always am sending my friends mail. Like, I'll just write them a letter and be like, hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're having a great day. This card reminded me of you or whatever.
That's really nice.
And then I think the other
I make a lot of like mental notes of things that they mention. If they like a certain like, I don't know, book or like an author, or like they saw something cute, or like, yeah.
The other thing I think, which is connected to that, is to I think a lot of people, for survival instincts or whatever else, they don't keep a long memory, and they don't try and have like, they don't remember how shitty they felt in a moment, for example. And so a big thing for me that I've actually received a lot of like praise from friends, which is that I remember how bad breakups feel.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you go through a breakup and you talk to your friends who you're like, oh, they'll understand. They fucking don't understand. They don't remember how bad it feels. They say like, you'll get over it, or like
just dismissing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what? No, like I think it's actually quite important to remember that, because as someone who has found very lackluster responses from people at times, you forget how good it feels to just have a friend around. Like Christina's always been very good at that. Like just, not necessarily knowing how to fix the problem, but to just show up. And so I think crystallizing memories, like how bad a breakup feels, like how bad it feels when you fight with your parents, how like how terrible it feels when like you lose a friend or whatever, remembering those things so that you can be a present person for them when they go through it. It's not even about like torturing yourself.
People get really uncomfortable like when they encounter another person crying, even if they have been like really good friends with them, they just like kind of get caught up in themselves. And I think that the big thing you have to remember that it's like not about you, just try to like find out what that person needs in that moment.
Exactly.
And it might not be like super like affectionate or anything. It might just they just need someone there with them in the room. Whether or not you guys are like hugging or whatever, it doesn't matter. They just need someone there for that moment. And just let people feel their feelings to like the fullest.
And some
I think people rush to like fix it or minimalize it. And it's just like, no, this person needs to feel their feelings in this moment. Just let them.
Yeah. And like not everyone's an easy crier. That's the other thing to remember is that for a lot of people, by the time they get to the point that they're like crying about something, it's really fucking affecting them. And you need to like honor that actually and really like show up for it and be like, okay, like this is how I'm going to help you get to the other side of that. Because I know it feels really fucking shitty. And like that, I just think it's a very easy thing you can do is like for the sake of being present for other people is to appreciate your own hard moments. And that's, you know.
And be vocal about what you need.
That's not easy. Yeah. And, you know, that is work. But like it's also, I think you'll be better for it in the long run if you can go out of your way to try and like memorize a feeling.
And also, like, nobody handles those situations perfectly, but, like, just the friend will appreciate you even trying.
Yeah, true life.
Just try. Make an effort. Make a concerted effort. That's how you be a good friend, I think.
And also be the friend that you would want. I was talking to someone recently who was saying that, like, she's like, I just talk to these people and I can tell they don't give a shit about me and, like, they're going to repeat what I say. And I was like, then don't say it to them. You know what I mean? Then like that's not your friend that you talk to about that. Like I have 2 friends that I tell things to and everyone else is kind of just like you know, I can't go there with them.
Of
and
course,
so
yeah,
part of it is also, you know, being the friend that you can say things to or knowing that, you know, kind of don't repeat things, like be a boundary haver with the people that aren't your friends like that you can't be there for them, that you can't show up. Like, don't let them get that deep because I hate it. The last thing I want is for someone to get deep with me and then not be able to show up for them because then I just feel fucking terrible because I'm like, I've told friends before, like, I'm not a safe harbor for this. You know, like this is not. I remember I actually had that reaction with someone about Coachella last year as they were going on and on to me about Coachella. And I was like, here's the thing. I don't care about it. Like, I can't care for you about this, so stop telling me. Like,
was that a close friend who was telling you?
It was someone that's just, yeah, it was like, they were kind of close, but like not close enough that like I could make it my business. And like, I also was just like, there's 9,000 other things that I'll talk to you about. And I'm sure you have 9,000 other friends that you can talk to about this.
Gotcha.
When it comes to your Coachella trip, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not a safe harbor for this. Like, I'm not going to honor this information. I don't value it. I don't feel for you. Like, this is just, don't bother me with it. And like, that's, I think being honest is also sometimes the best way you can show up as a friend as well and be like, for some reason, the situation's touchy for me and I'm not going to be able to give you the reaction you want.
Next question. What are your favorite late night snacks in alphabetical order?
That's hard to do, but
you can just do regular late night snacks.
Yeah, let me think. I'm going to try and do it in alphabetical order, which I would say Oreos.
Have you had the Oreo
yogurt?
Thins?
What?
Have you ever had the Oreo Thins?
Yeah, but I prefer the double stuffed.
See, I think that's so funny you say that. I think Oreo Thins are the way that Oreos were supposed to taste. Like, I think that they are the exact right cookie to frosting ratio.
Yeah.
With double stuff, I don't know what to do.
I like a regular Oreo myself.
I don't know what to do with all that stuff. I really don't. Yeah, Big Molly likes the thin ones.
And then I guess since I can only do a Z now, since I've done the yogurt.
Zebra cakes? What else do you have?
Yeah, like just live zebras. I like to nibble on their ears. Yeah.
Zebra nuggets.
So that would be my answer.
I was thinking about Wags' little ears when you said that. C is for cereal, man. And like, I have to say, no one likes cereal more than America at night. We love cereal at night. I don't know what it is. There's something so satisfying about a bowl of cereal at night. I am more likely to eat cereal at midnight than I am in the morning. I think it's so good. I don't know what it is. We all love eating cereal at night. And we don't talk about it.
When did you decide this for because I certainly don't like eating cereal.
Yeah, I do.
I would say probably a year ago I realized we all eat cereal at night. No one talks about it.
I never eat cereal at night.
I think
I don't want to go to bed with like dairy mouth. Ew. I brush my teeth before bed, but it's still,
I use Lactaid instead of milk. Yeah.
Ooh,
so I guess it's Lactaid mouth, which sounds really disgusting.
Are you lactose intolerant?
No, just
I was going to say that seems like a little bit of a crime unless you can't process dairy. But you know what?
It tastes the same, and yeah.
Have you ever met one of those people who put OJ on cereal?
Oh,
it disgusts me. And I grew up with so many people that like didn't eat milk, so like they would pour OJ on their cereal, and I can't think of anything more disgusting.
That is not the way the craftsmen who have made cereal wanted. That's like people who listen to podcasts like sped up.
Yeah. Oh, I have a real hard time with that. Remember we had a guest on, he was like, I listen to a podcast. I'm like, why are you bragging about that? Like, and he was saying like, I get Madison Perry, I think his name was, you get more, he's like, you get to listen to more podcasts that way. And I'm like, but
and as a creator, I'm like, the timing is off. Like you don't make it to be like heard that way.
When I hear a podcast, like, and it sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like I have a real visceral reaction, and the first thing I do is I check to see the speed because I'm like, this is too. People aren't supposed to be talking that fast. Like it's just weird.
Yeah, no, but a lot of people listen to podcasts at like high speed, and I guess a lot of people will eat cereal with OJ.
And then after that,
I wonder if there's like a Venn diagram of people.
I love frozen yogurt at night. I love I more often than not.
You're like big into eating dairy at night.
Don't talk about me like that. I am. No, I'm like big on a cheese plate. I'm big on I love like a glass of rosé or like some nice white wine and a cheese plate. Like I'll go down on that shit like right now. I want that right now actually.
Yeah, cheese is my weakness. I could never eat chocolate again if I could eat Gouda and pecorino and
oh yeah. Have you heard of
jalapeno?
Apparently there's this like cross section of taste where
burrata.
Every single person, I guess,
Brie.
Across the board, there's a cross section of food. Someone told me this once. You either crave 3 of these things and you don't like one.
Mozzarella.
And it's cheese, bread, olives, and chocolate.
I like cheese and chocolate. I mean, I love bread and chocolate.
You like cheese?
I can give or take cheese.
And do you hate olives?
I hate olives.
See, that's what it is apparently 3 of those. Everyone likes 3 of those things and they dislike one.
Yeah.
Which
I like all of them.
You do?
Yeah, but I don't crave I mean, if I were to rank them, it would probably be bread number one. Yeah, bread number 1.
I don't like bread.
I love bread. Just
bread
like
number 1, cheese number 2, chocolate number 3, olives number 4. But yeah, olives are a nice kind of flavor, comparison.
I love an olive. I do.
I hate olives.
Whole life.
Yeah, I like olives.
I love those. They begin with this. They're like Castellano or something. They're like really capers. I love,
yeah.
But no, it's a certain type of olive, and it's the only kind I like in my martini.
I don't mind a caper. I hate an olive.
Really? I like green olives. I wish that all pizzas had green olives in stock instead of just the black ones.
I grew to love green olives as an adult.
Interesting.
As a child, put a green olive in front of me. Worst day of my life.
I don't mind like an olive if it's like cooked in the dish, like it's just, but I will take it out after it's been cooked. Like I don't mind a little bit of flavor.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't like olives.
Yeah.
Next question. Can you drive a stick shift? How about with your eyes closed?
Fuck no.
No.
Next question. Last question.
Can you drive a stick shift? No, you just learned how to drive.
Here's the thing. I drive like someone who does drive a stick shift.
Okay.
I was driving with my coworker in a car and I was like just doing my normal like stance and she's like, "Do you drive stick?" And I was like, "I've never driven stick in my entire life." Oh, because you
hold that thing the whole time you drive.
Yeah. And I realized it's because I drove a lot of car games as a kid.
Yeah.
And I always picked manual because I wanted the control.
Okay.
So now it's like permanently affixed into my driving habits from like playing you know,
Sarah, my old roommate, could drive a stick. And I was like, I'm sorry, are you a farmer? Like, how did you learn how to do that?
I think people need them for like off-roading.
Yeah, I had to drive
rural areas.
I had to drive a stick once when I was driving up to Seattle with my best friend at the time, Sarah, and we got into this like laughing fit where I couldn't shift and there was like 3 semis behind us honking, and then I think I farted and like took off the cap that was on my head and there was a giant line, and it was like one of those just moments of just unrestrained just laughing hysterical fit. Yeah, I think we eventually moved. We might have had to switch
panics
seats.
Me on your part.
Really?
Yeah. Well, first of all, going on a road trip with a stick, like I love a road trip, so I know, like, but I just know that like you're just sitting there. Like it took me 8 hours to drive home from Vegas once, and I just remember I was just sitting there for 8 hours, and the idea of doing that with a stick terrifies me.
Ugh.
I wouldn't know what to do. I drove one once when I was 7 in Italy. That's the only time I've ever driven one. And I guess maybe that's why I think it's so hard, because I was a little child last time I tried it. But I would be so panicked the whole time if I had to do that now. I'm proud of you.
There's only been a couple of times in my life where it was just like unrestrained laughing fit. And I wish it happened more. The last time it happened was when I was reading Exo Jane, and I was reading, and this is recently because the site shut down, and so somehow all of the comments have gotten mismatched, and so it's this conversation between people saying, what the hell, I was reading an article about cat hair in someone's vagina. I was reading about someone who wants to break up with their boyfriend because he has an interracial fetish. I was reading, and this conversation between the commenters just led me into this hysterical laughing fit, and it was like so joyous. I love that.
I was doing this last week about Beyonce, like getting bit on the face. Like I think it hit me for the first time really, because I was talking about it out loud. I've been alone for 2.5 weeks. The only people that I have seen are Christina and guest some, please advise, because I've just been so sick that I've been in bed desperately afraid of being sick on a 11.5-hour flight, which I still can't get over the fact that I have to do that. But I remember like saying like Beyonce got bit on the face, and it was the first time I had heard myself say it out loud. And I couldn't stop laughing. Like, I was like, this is the most insane thing I've ever said out loud. And also, the more I was thinking about, like, the logistics, like, how do you bite a face? Like, it's not like Beyonce has a fat face and you can, like, take a chunk out of it. Like, Beyonce couldn't have a more slender face. So, like, where do you start the bite? Like, where does it happen? Like, with an apple, I know where to bite. But if someone was like, can you bite this cantaloupe? I'd be like, well, where? Like, where do I bite a cantaloupe? I can't. Someone bit Beyonce on the face. Like, that is crazy to me.
I had a guy bite me on the face on a date, and I was like, what the fuck? And he said, what? Oh, are you into, what are you into? Tonguing? Like regular Midwestern tonguing? And like, that was, I guess, how this guy... That was his move, was just like face biting.
This is where you learn that like someone had a weird thing happen when they were like 12.
Right.
Like no one like taught them how to kiss. By the way, like have you ever had to tell a guy that you're like a bad kisser?
Yeah, I have.
I've done
it stays
that.
with them the rest of their life.
That you're a bad kisser, or the guy's
a bad kisser. Like you have to be like, that's whoever taught you how to kiss, like never spoke up.
Like they never grew out of like the middle school, like just open like jamming the tongue into your mouth,
or just like licking your chin. You know, like that's the time I told someone.
There
should
be
because,
no
like,
drool involved in kissing.
If you have to like wipe your mouth when you're like finished making out with someone,
and
it's like several times. That was like what I meant by like middle school was very like just so drooly.
I dated a guy not that long ago that kissed like a fucking toddler. Like I was like, I feel like I'm kissing like someone's niece or nephew. Like it just was like, you are so tight mouthed and like
like he didn't
like, where's she going?
I was really trying to understand.
I was like, how do you know what a toddler is?
No, it's just like a tight little like peck.
Now I understand.
And I'm just like, this is like not sexy. It's not sensual. It's not sexy. It's not like passionate. Like this really feels like I have a niece or a nephew and then I'm trying to be sexually intimate with. I feel so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable. And like
that's actually a relief because if you had gotten like really, if you were like, this is my thing.
Yeah.
That
concerned.
would have been really sad.
No. Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Last question. Why do bad people happen to good places?
Oh, like a loud ass person at brunch?
Like the person who bit Beyonce at that concert.
Ooh, drugs. That was drugs, apparently.
Yeah.
I think that just the weird way that humanity works is that, like, in order to appreciate sometimes the really amazing, wonderful, sparkly, spectacular people, that we also have really disturbing, troubled people. And if you can look at it within the perspective of, oh, what a contrast that makes me appreciate Molly and Christina even more, type of thing. Because there's always gonna be that guy or that girl. And sometimes, I mean, I've been that guy or that girl where it's
we've
just
all
like,
been that person.
The bad time has arrived.
Yeah. Or like, okay,
this is that person. Usually at a group dinner. Group dinners really set me off.
Well, I had to learn, like, you know, at a certain point in life, because Ed would always like bully me into going out, even if I didn't want to be there and I didn't like the people. He'd be like, "Come on, you're coming," and I'd be like, "Listen." I've learned in life that showing up and being rude and being a bad time is like very easy to avoid. You just vocalize, I'm going to be a bad time and I don't want to be there. Like the last thing you want to do is show up and be a wet blanket. So you got to know thyself. But it's so funny that this is like random, but I was looking at Patton Oswalt's wife, Meredith Salinger, I think her name is, her Instagram the other day. And she was at the Vatican, I think, and some guy just like was there in super tight shorts, like leaning over a balcony, just like kind of leaning. Maybe she was at Versailles, and the guy was like leaning, and like he just looked like he had his fucking ass out, like it's the most gorgeous place in the world. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what does it feel like to be that guy that doesn't realize your like ass crack is showing at the Vatican? Like, what is that like? Like, what is it like to? Some girl from Vanderpump Rules was like telling a story on a podcast about how she went to the Vatican and was like underdressed. Like she was wearing like a tank top and like maybe a crop top, even in shorts. And like she didn't realize that it was like completely inappropriate to show up to the Vatican and like a crop top and shorts. And I'm just like, that's a manners thing. Like your parents didn't raise you right. Like you don't know.
But it's like, would you even go to a church? Like I don't understand what her logic was in wearing that when like does she not know what the Vatican is?
I think a lot of people think it's a tourist attraction. They don't realize like poor Tiffany Trump at Easter Mass and like some fucking baby dress. Like she just looked so inappropriate. And I was just like, first of all, Trump, like you would never let Ivanka show up like that. Like you just roll Tiffany out to humiliate her, and that's not okay. I really do think that they roll Tiffany out to just like leave her looking embarrassed because they don't put her in wardrobe and makeup. They don't give her anything else that all these other children of his have. Tiffany, oh, Wags looks so cute right now. His little mouth. I love the corners of his mouth. But some people just like, they don't realize like, I just think about my grandmother and how my grandmother would have probably had a fucking heart attack if she saw someone at church like that. Like, it was inappropriate to show your form. It was inappropriate to be half dressed. Like, you had to have tights on if you were going to church. Like, you weren't allowed to show up looking like...
I still have to check myself sometimes when people wear hats inside. That's still, like, a thing for me. It's weird.
Ed was wearing a hat at Mass and in college, and he had been coming from the gym. And, like, first of all, like, God bless Ed. Like, I went to Boston College, too, and for 4 years, I did not go to one Mass, which is, like, a big faux pas. Like, you have to be a practicing Catholic at BC. And Ed would go, and I remember Ed like came in late to church and was just sitting in the back, and some guy like turned around and was like, "Excuse me, can you take your hat off?" And like, you're not supposed to be wearing a hat in church, but it also was like a big fucking spectacle, and he was like humiliated. He's like, "I'm just trying to get my mass on, dude. Like, I'm trying to do my Sunday prayers. Like, it's like 6 p.m. I just came from the Plex, and I'm trying to give it up to God right now. Like, can you, but."
I'm going to have the back of that jacket. I'm going to have it embroidered with, I'm just trying to get my mass on. And then I can wear it to church.
That can mean a lot of things. That can mean you're trying to get your Massachusetts on.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Vineyard Vines. Okay. Any more questions?
That's it.
Great questions, Jessica.
Are we wrapping up this epi? You guys, thank you so much for listening to Please Advise episode 162. Mandy, thank you so much for being here. Please get her book, Unwifeable, which is at unwifeablebook.com.
Yeah, if you go to unwifeablebook.com, it'll take you right to the Amazon page. And I think people will, if a single thing I said you thought was interesting, there's 9 million more interesting things in the book. So.
And you can also probably get it on Audible too, right?
You can. I narrated it myself.
Ooh, how was that experience for you?
It was very intense. And by the end of it, I was kind of best friends with the 2 women who are in the booth.
It's very raw. It's very vulnerable to read. Like
it is.
In front of those people.
Well, yeah, because you're having to do characters, you're having to read emails, drunk texts that you sent. Well, I guess not everyone. That doesn't comprise every book, but for my book, there was a lot of weird shit to be reading aloud. But I loved it. I was really happy with it. And there's like a special bonus track at the end on the Audible that is me talking to my husband about the book and the process.
I
and
love
how
that.
Weird. Yeah, it was fun.
I really do. I think that's great. I
like when people play a little bit more in the audiobook because it's a different medium. You should embrace that.
Kathy Griffin does that a lot, which I really like. But also,
Amy Poehler did it really well.
That's the one I thought of too.
Can I give a shout out to a former XO Jane writer as well who did a really good job with her audiobook? If you don't mind, Kat Marnell did an amazing job.
Yeah,
with
I listened to her book on audio.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like audiobook that's not written by like a performer or read by a performer because it does sometimes authors like they're lackluster.
No, it's weird. They can't like read their own stuff. It's like
Caitlin Jenner didn't read her book.
Okay.
She was just I actually really like it and endeared me to her immediately because like it was a whole separate foreword that she wrote for the audio. I'm sure someone wrote it for the audiobook where she basically says like I'm severely dyslexic and that's why I don't read this book.
Interesting.
And I'm severely dyslexic as well. So like for some reason I melt when someone else owns up to that because it's really like it's a very vulnerable thing and like dyslexia is like a strangely humiliating learning disability because it's so abstract and it shows up so differently for different people. Like I can always tell when someone's dyslexic and they're not diagnosed. Like Kendall Jenner, I was watching her read something in an old like YouTube video she did with Kylie and like she was reading and I was like, oh, she's dyslexic. Like I was like, she's definitely dyslexic. So you got it from her daddy, I guess. But I wanted to say Kat Marnell's book was great. I'm sure yours is incredible as well. That sounds really interesting, that thing with your husband at the end. Yeah,
it was fun. Yeah, it wasn't planned or anything, but he just came in the last day of recording because I had like begged him to because I wanted him to see. It's such an interesting experience to record and it was fun.
Yeah. You guys, thank you so much for listening to Please Advise. Mandy, I'm really excited to read your book. I'm so happy it's here. I'm going to be bringing it to Big Molly's bringing it to Japan with her. So I'm excited to read it as a large and in charge white woman in Japan. You guys, thank you so much for listening. Wags, thank you for being you as always.
I feel like he always knows when we're wrapping up the pod because he always barks at the end.
He's like, motherfucker, let's go. All right.
That's interesting.
All right. I have to go to the mall. I have to go to Lens Crafters where I've had a little bit of a mental breakdown on employees as well. I was really rude at Lens Crafters once. I had like 2 glasses of wine and I went to go pick up my Ray-Bans and I was like, they were like, your Ray-Bans won't be available for another week. I was like, excuse me. I was like, can I tell you something? I was like, this store sucks. And I was like, do you think that I would have gone to Lens Crafters if I didn't want to pick my glasses up in 24 hours? And they were like looking at me and they were like a little bit horrified. And I was like, no, honestly, I was like, your selection sucks. This store is nerdy. I was like, why would I have come to Lens Crafters if I didn't want immediate results? And they were basically just like, the one was like, fair. Yeah. But I definitely am a little bit nervous. You'll be coming with me to Lens Crafters today. I think if we're going to the mall, I think we have to swing by Lens Crafters first because I need an emotional support human. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you guys next week. Or will I not? I'll try and talk to you. We'll figure it out. Big Molly's going to be in Japan. I'll talk to you guys soon. 323-450-7408. We love your calls. Thank you so much. Bye.